motivational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture.
Yes, good evening and welcome to the Everything Agriculture Show. I'm your host Banky and my other host Yason Tofare will be in shortly when they get a chance. But for now, let me say good evening to the folks in Oli and Layamiga, which that's the ancestral name. St. Kitts and Nevis Federation. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in on this another Friday evening. It's the second Friday of April. So good. No, I think it's the first. First Friday of April. Cause today's just So the first Friday of April, I'm living too fast ahead. So y'all be with me sometime. My mind all over the place. But appreciate you tuning in. But you all choose to stick with Real Entertainment Network and the podcast. So let me say good evening to the folks in the neighboring islands, Saba and Statia, St. Martin, the U.S. Virgin Islands, the BVI, also the folks over in Montserrat, Antigua and Barbuda, also in Bermuda, have folks always over the Latin Division. It is said that more than 50 or 60% of the people down there is from Division descent. So that's a beautiful thing. Yes, also the people over in Guadeloupe, Martinique, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Grenada, wherever you are throughout the Windward and Leeward Islands, we greatly appreciate you tuning in and listening to us. Also the folks in North America, from right up to Maine, come straight onto the Florida Keys, Texas, Atlanta, New York, Boston, Chicago, wherever you're at on the West Coast, California. We appreciate you guys tuning into Real Entertainment Network and Everything Agriculture Show. It shows that you have that interest when it comes to agriculture and the environment itself. And you should, because without agriculture, we don't exist. And without the plants, we don't exist. And that's the kicker. That's the primary producer, which means we breathe out oxygen, carbon dioxide, the plant taking the carbon dioxide and process it and give us oxygen so we can survive. So we should not take agriculture as lightly. We tend to say we are so brilliant, but yet we eat all kind of junks and killing off ourselves in a mystic way. Have somebody calling me. Hold on there. Hello? Yes, sorry about that. So we're supposed to have a guest coming on anytime now, Virgin Mikey, but I'm not sure if he can get in or something like that. But yes, also the folks over in Europe, especially those in England in different time zone. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I know sometimes it's later in the evening time and in the morning time, and you just stick to us religiously, and we can't take these things for granted. So we appreciate these things. Also, the folks over in Asia, Africa, wherever you are to the sound of my voice, appreciate you guys tuning in and listening to the Agriculture Show. Okay. Well, this evening we'll be have a lots of different topics to talk about. We're speaking about food security, speaking about cannabis. Well, recently it seemed like to have a lot of different cases going around where police have been uprooting cannabis trees, and a lot of people in the different communities within St. Kitts, Nevis, different parts. So Nevis have been complaining why the police is going around all of a sudden and uprooting the cannabis trees. Yes, we'll hear some different talk shows, so you'll find a group of young men everywhere they're going to have a spliff in the mouth and all this different stuff. But the reality, if you're going to start looking down on stuff, I guess because it's still taboo to be using cannabis, even though the government have put things in place and say it's a non-poisonous plant. And also, before we get into all this, also, if you want to be a part of the show, the telephone number is 1-869-662-7196. Also, if you just want to, you can type your messages and they'll get read. And also remember to share the link and let everyone know that Everything Agriculture show is on. You all have made it the #1 agriculture show, even talk show within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis in just a short time, a little under 5 years. So we appreciate you guys doing this. As if you're first time listener, it's a non-political show. From time to time, we'll put a little, I don't like to say pressure, but at least ask the right questions and hold the ministers, them in position accountable and stuff like that, because this is what this show is about. And the way forward, you're going to always be accountability. Whatever is said, we're going to hold them accountable for what they're doing, and they should be judged by that. And that's the way forward, because it's too much wastage we're going on within St. Kitts and Nevis when it comes to the government, and the taxpayers is the one who keep paying taxes upon taxes with all this wastage. Really and truly, we shouldn't be paying any kind of bill. The government should be building houses and give to the citizens, and just give them a monthly stipend, because the amount of money have been wasted, hundreds of millions and millions of dollars, which mean each citizen really can get at least a $10 million, and every 5 years give them $1 million. And I don't even want to use the word citizen. I forget that out of my grammar. Native, distinctive. Yes, native. That's the best way to go, because anybody can spend some money and get a passport and all the things there. So I become a citizen, and then they say we're equal, and that can't be. Because if I go to a next place and I'm not from there, and some of them in Morocco, I'll never be able to buy land because I'm not a native. Even if I'm married to somebody, I'm not a native. And many other places, some places, it's just like that through the Caribbean and stuff. So we got to be very careful when it comes to, our place is very small, so we really got to protect our natural resource. The most important thing is our land. And recently we hear a lot of row about the land over on the south side, going from Long Point Pier all the way over to Indian Castle, over by the windmill, where everybody fighting to buy up all these land and stuff like that. Well, everybody get right now. They'll say nothing can go at Indian Castle, and it's a waste of time. But all those land beyond Brown Hill and Cox, and coming right through on Saddle Hill, same type of land. Is the same side from over New River, coming right through on by the racetrack over to Indian Castle. But anything can go anywhere. The whole island used to have things planted, so I don't know how some people come up with this conclusion when nothing can't go in this, but yet all those same land, they want to build hotels, they want to build gated communities, they want to do all this great stuff. So we really see how in these times, anyone who let people take them for a ride, I guess they have some kind of interest in it, because I don't see why, if these land ain't no good, why would you want to put exclusive homes and all this different stuff and condominiums and all them areas there? That area there is one of the best side, the best side of the island. The whole island is a beautiful place. It's just that you have one time you have the Caribbean Sea, and in them areas there you can do a lot of breakwater walls, and you still get beaches all inside there. In Indonesia, they have a lot of, they have the same over there is almost the same side, which they will call the windward side, and it's the same thing. The Indian Ocean, same thing, windy, but they have nice beaches, and then sometimes they use it for surfing and different stuff. And they use breakwater walls where people go out on the walls, because they make them, instead of out in the seawater like down by Four Seasons, right inland, so you can walk, almost building like a pier, but they are walls, and you can walk out and chill and sit on them and stuff like that. So they do a lot of those, at least maybe I guess 500 feet apart, maybe 800 feet apart, less than 1,000 feet apart though. From could be more than I guess 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet if you look at it in the distance. Yeah, about that. So, and that help a lot when it come to, and that's the beach, and very very busy every day. Everybody go there, do the hustling there, and sell their fish and everything. Beautiful place. So those things could be done on that side of the island, on the south side, different ideas. But for now, I mean, when Yason come in, I guess we get into some of those things. But if the idea was developing Indian Castle is to show the people of Nevis and sink it, even though the peninsula the same way. Things can go anyway, and in this time with technology and excavators, and you'll be amazed where people build homes and stuff like that. I mean, we tend to say, oh, we just want to build a house in the flat area because building on hills is going to cost more, excavator work, this type of work, all this different stuff, which understandable. You're trying to keep the cost as much down as possible. But you just take your time, and once you're done, you want to get a lot of stuff. It's like you get a basement, but you leave it unfinished until you do it later at the end of the day, you do on top. So Yes, we just went. Also had this Wednesday went, which was April 2nd. We had the golf and bunny inter-primary championship. That was very, very, very interesting. I know if that was me, if I was Ivor Walters, I guess I might have slowed down and pedal back and yeah, then I see certain things like that and let Ivor Walters win if they were St. Thomas's. But you got to give kudos to all the schools. I mean, they're all champions. They're going out there and running and facing this crowd and with thousands and thousands of people, a lot of pressure. It's really not easy. So you really got to give commend to those children to go out there in the schools. And at least these children should be awarded in some way, whether each of them get a pair of track shoes, some socks, and just different stuff, some stuff for academics and all these different stuff that can help them throughout the schools and a little stipend, open up an account, a little stipend and all this different stuff. Because we really can't be, otherwise, like we're going back into Rome, in this Colosseum and entertaining all the hierarchy, and then you just ain't getting nothing out of it. I'm for one who believe in make sure not just give the youth a medal and stuff like that. But in these times here, they're making a lot of money off of sport. That's how me see it. Because even the parking when I charge, you know what I mean? So they do making some fun. The vendors, they kind of price to charge the vendors them and the amount. People can analyze things. So, and with all this stuff, I hope some of the schools can get a donation or to at the same time and stuff like that. So, but we're going to get into some of the tariffs because it seems like a 10% tariff will be imposed on other Caribbean countries when it comes to those exporting food back into the US and all and different stuff like that. And you find them, the Prime Minister, and then we went over to Africa, and you had a round table talk, I think it's this week, where he spoke about the Minister of Agriculture had signed an MOU with a company over there, one green company over in Nigeria, where they're going to set up a base, a hub in St. Kitts, store food and different stuff inside there, and all the logistics, and then ship the food throughout the Caribbean, and then I guess they can also ship stuff back out to Nigeria and all this different stuff. And then he also spoke about 100 acres of Tabasco sauce in 10-acre lots and all and stuff like that, and also developing 200 acres of a fruit tree orchard. But I hear a 200 million or 500 million put in place where farmers and fishermen and all and those in agro-processors can access developing our agriculture industry real seriously, build small factories where we're going to start to go into making tomato ketchups, some mango, different stuff from mangoes, whether it's a mango chutney, it's a mango leather, almost like and dry mangoes, mango pulp, golden apple pulp, different type of fruits pulp and stuff like that. Package it, increase the production when it comes to the local hot pepper and stuff like that, and also push those local hot sauce and all this different stuff. And Kai spoke about also dealing with the US and getting stuff exported to the US the same with the FDA and all the different stuff, which is great. But at the same time, you gotta have access to funding which is tangible. Because no one want to be dependent on the government giving them handout, just give them these things, give them these things. No, nobody want that. Put the resources in place where Yason can go and access a $5 million. You understand? Purchase some land and develop that land when you in an agro tourism kind of way, what you want to deal with it. And next money can go and purchase a $5 million, purchase the fishing vessel. And next farmer going, if you want $1 million, whatever, to develop his agriculture stock. And same thing when it comes to small, the chicken industry. And those who want to do the agro-processors, got a small factory and all these different, and those into soap making. You got to have, and some of these things will be up to grants. Because the kind of money we are waste, Yason, and those listen to the sound of my voice, I can't fathom why we did not access, only put $10 million and you get $20,000 loan. Them things they're nonsense. We really got to start because we are just pushing real estate. Tourism is all about real estate and surveying and Just real estate, lie, money and all. It's just real estate. It's just asset all like people around each other in a group and just laughing after the rest of us. So therefore, we're gonna have to change the system and change those people we tend to put up to run, those lawyers and those doctors and those distinguished men. We need everyday regular people, farmers, construction workers, bus driver, technicians, just regular people who mean well, who understand, because these, it seems like something wrong. And I mean, I can't get it. Whether you change the color of the shirt or whatever it is, same thing. You see, so we really got to find regular people. You realize none of them talking over in with Abraham in Burkina Faso, the leader, because the stuff what he is doing is what the stuff every leader supposed to be doing. You see, protect your natural resource, get rid of those who come in to invade your country, because that's what it is, and take over your natural resource and exploit your people when you yourself can develop your own resource the same way and your people benefit more. That's how it's supposed to be. These are just simple common sense. But when you do stuff like this, everybody want to get rid of you. Just send it to see your maker, eliminate you, and then put somebody in there who gone and then they call it, oh, the people them want demand to, they don't want to an election. What do you think? We got a good leader that we could work with that. Just let it steady, and that's it. That's what they want. They don't want nothing else, and that works for them. But no, we have been controlled and so afraid of the Caucasian man who is outside there and dictating things to you. Boy, we would like to suck on the breast, boy. Yes, son. Just put your head on the breast and just suck on the nipple and don't move at all. Just fall asleep and just then put your finger in your mouth. That's our leaders. They love these people. That's one thing. But it's a shame though. But the reality, their children, them seeing these things, unless they poison their mind for them not to see these things, because once you're a self-thinking person, you can see things what it is. It's too obvious. It is too obvious. You can't have all these millions and millions of dollars disappearing, wasting. You're going to tell me you can't put $200 million into agriculture, because you're going to say no, the food import bill is over $750 million a year time. Well, so we'll call it $1 billion. You see? But yet you can't put 200 million, 400 million where people can have access to these things. Because I would like to develop a 100 hectare, you understand, a 500 hectare of land with mangoes and citrus and all kind of different stuff. You see what I mean, yes, son? I go tourism and put small factories and employ at least 100 people. Oh, well, they want to say we can't do it. If they bet they're going to lose, and they know they're going to lose, so they know we can do it. But you see, no kickbacks in that for nobody to get. No lie, guys, do no paperwork. You understand? And that's it. That's it. So right now, the fooling of people done with it now. So all those who have all the talk shows and talking, this come over upon this and that, but I don't want to hear the things there. The type of fooling people done with. And if you realize, these parties from over 90 years old, 50 years old, they got a hierarchy so the people dictate to you what to do, what not to say, how to talk and all these things. Control mechanism. You know what I'm saying? Just control mechanism. And they're going to die, and when they die, they paint the casket blue and green and bury them in like blue, green and yellow clothing and shoes and what are they going to take them to? Heaven? Where the politics got their own heaven, no? I mean, I understand. They got their own section too. Because you see, after this party go, you understand? When you cut them the blood green and red and yellow. But yet, we all got to eat though. We are going to come to one consensus. We all got to eat many times throughout the day. We are going to drink clean water. You see, that's the beautiful thing about it. When you don't go out all the easy man's kissing, we all got to go out and go in the bathroom and sit down and flush back out our belly. We all get the little simple thing, belly ache, that remind you you're only human. You see what I mean? So, all the easy man's kissing, that's the beautiful thing about life. Me no business by how they think in their head at the end of the day. They got to get up and eat. That's the first thing from their mind, where they're going to eat lunch. So if that is the most important thing, nothing comfort you. Nothing comfort you that when you're eating. I don't care what it is. Once you feel that craving when you don't eat, and nothing better than that, because that is what smooth, got to touch your soul. It's like you go and buy something to go eat, and when you don't like how it tastes, and the worst feeling, you're vexed because you pay for it. Can you never go find something else to eat? So we are not this way. We're so wise. I know the food is the most important stuff that to eat and that soothes you. Why would not you not take this thing serious? You're gonna still feed yourself junks, poison off yourself. But who you gonna vex with? Can the doctors them not help the doctors them a guess? Most of them a guess. Try this and then we'll see how it works. And then if that increase the dose, then try that and then you start bleed out your nose or bleed out your eye and you start go wings or tail or something. But yes, son, what's going on with you?
Global greetings, my brother. I'm just soaking in, the passion from your utterances. Like you, this is a part of my passion as well, and it is sometimes very frustrating when we hear some of these things that you're pointing out, and you really wonder, well, I mean, this shouldn't be rocket science. This shouldn't be rocket science. We shouldn't have to be rocket scientists to figure out these things. And sometimes you find
Yes.
even the average individual um, can offer solutions and are offering solutions. And in some cases, they would seem to be frowned upon or not given the necessary attention. But there's, you pointed out one of the things there in your utterances. You said that in some cases, some of the reasons why the investments are not placed in agriculture and in farming and in food security because when you empower the farmers and so on, there's no kickback. You're not going to get any kickback out of it. That's one aspect of it. And then the other aspect is the one that I usually point out, which is pretty obvious. Um, these guys are making a decent pay scale and a very decent pay scale. And so they can afford to go to the supermarkets and the stores. It doesn't matter how much the inflation or whatever it is, they can afford to buy the food. So there is no crisis for food in their perspective, from their vantage point. It is only those who are on the lower scale find themselves in that difficulty. And so we have to, as those who find ourselves in that majority lower scale, have to really find ways to empower ourselves as well to really address these things and also seek to do what we should do to empower them to really get focused and invest in agriculture. As you mentioned, um, a lot of money flow through these islands, and they're actually seeking to sell out the land. So these hectares that you're talking about that you could have and you could set up these orchards and so on, based on their thinking of seeking to just get some quick money, um, those lands might be swept away from under your feet without maybe you even knowing, because this is another thing that is happening. Because some of these people still are not seeking to hold them accountable, then a lot of things are happening without us being aware of what is going on. Then even when we become aware, um, we make noise for 9 days, and then it's like so they are fully aware of the game and they're fully aware of how the people operate, and so they're able to manipulate and they prey on your emotions when necessary and prey on your ignorance to some extent as well, and prey on the passiveness of many of our people in relation to certain things. And so we, Banky, have a very serious task ahead of us, and it is so much like more evident in these times. We look at um, the issues that's taking place with the tariff globally. Now, let's
Yes.
let's even look at that. Let's even look at that. Um, if you continue to be so dependent on import, then what is going to happen to you in the next couple of months? You might not start feeling it this month or next month, but with those increase in tariffs from outside and also inside, because what's happening in America, those countries who they are imposing tariffs on, some of them are retaliating also and increasing their tariffs as well. And what that means for people like us in the region who are so heavily dependent on imports, it means that everything is going to be going up higher and higher. And you're
You
already
see,
crying that you're not getting enough money, and the minimum wage can't even be, it's not even livable wage at this point to some extent. Um, we see the problems. And if our people are not taking heed, I mean, we had the 25 by 25 agenda, which has been pushed back to 2030, and it seems as if, well, some people like they're glad they hear it pushed back to 2030. So, like, there's no more push to really
yeah, but
take this thing seriously, even though all these things happen in front of our eyes.
you can see there is, yes, son. If one look around them and see how everything is structured, you can realize every 20 to 30 years something strategically happen. They put something in place. If you're paying attention, you're not up to no good. You understand? If I could have figured out this thing from since me a teenager, or waiting if me soon 50, me need anybody can tell me any crap. Me don't need it. Me need to hear it, Virgin. Because the thing is as clearly, or the universe don't put on the spectacles as the Gregory, and you iron choose you, and you see how the system run and those in between and all them the alliances and those in position and this and that, and they help each other and favors and all these one ton of things and whatever. Me no want to go to nobody party when they invite me. Me no into no congregating and all the thing, then eat cheese and drink wine and mingle and defraud my people and play important. You understand? And mix up and all this. No, me no want no VIP treatment. Me no that. Let me sit down amongst the peasants and whatever, because me are part of the peasants. Me no want to fit in. Me no be a part in the boys club and the girls club and all these different pedophile things. You understand? Groups they have around here. Me no in that. You see me? That's our problem. We can see things exactly for what it is. You understand? We can see what it is. Because we live in a system where you have all these different. Virgin, your food is the most important thing, and we're talking about this thing over 5 years or beyond. We see this is going to happen 20, 30 years down the road before. Is the other day speaking to a young respectable lady in we will couch to society and stuff like that. Banky been telling us this thing all the time, and now everything happening. Well, okay, well, not gonna happen. You so trust the world and all these institutions, church the church and church the pastor, and don't all them are the con man. Huh? Are them are the con man? Are them are the devil? You know, the devil right one when every day that drive it off and car off and something off and a tie and jacket, and you look for them to come up along the place. They're right in front of you. You send the children them amongst them, and them you understand? They're right there, faking, playing distinguished. Not to me. You understand? We not play with them. And you're willingly giving them your free money. Just giving them free money. Giving them, you don't even pay a bill. Just give them your money. The Lord gonna keep on your light. Don't worry about it. Just give them your money. And they're taking vacations, canning you. And they too no food got to eat. Cause they too have to eat when it carry along to the same thing. So me not let no politician. If you're not show me the money there, you see how they're pushing Culturama. I cannot add some promo on this and about Culturama in every way, if not inter-primary. You push Culturama. You see the difference? But is this the minister, you know? But you say when you was second quarter now? Is this the second quarter? Second quarter start, first quarter done.
In the second.
And we serious about food. You see what I mean? We're very serious about food and food security. You see what I mean? But yet, we can plan, start second phase 2 in Indian Castle. I want to big up the young extension staff who come visit my farm, the young lady, and you know what I mean, who they have there doing the chief extension officer work. I've been analyzing this thing for a while, and I don't like people advantage. So I hope the ministers might tell the minister to tune into real entertainment and listen what we're talking about, because you have this young lady they're having her as, and when you're gonna listen the week of the agriculture expo, the Wednesday, with the minister and his show, with the director and the gentleman next to him who is at the Indian Castle, you hear the gentleman say he is the chief extension officer. So if you're the chief, how much chief extension officer agriculture have? And when the young lady interview the same person when they come to the hot pepper project for the Tabasco, yesterday the young lady is the chief extension officer. So you see, when you're playing game with people, you have a young lady doing his work. He now don't know, he know he the chief on paper, but the advantage in the young lady, that is not right. Them things the end right, virgin. If you're the chief, well, how come you never see the chief and me farm? Francis, me set up. I'm missing this young lady comes with me every month. Young lady comes along with the other extension officer. So what the purpose you're the chief be then? You're not a chief, you got the chief on paper, but you're not gonna work. You see? And these are the things the premier talking about when it comes to accountability and giving increments. You understand? But the friend thing and the nonsense politics thing and me blue and me party in power and all this nonsense. Crap. Failures. If you fail, don't take pay, virgin. Deduct your pay. Drop your money. If you fail, this is the second agriculture open to come out and nothing come out to Indian Castle. And these things are sad. But the young lady who is doing the chief extension officer, and she's not the chief extension officer, this thing need to change. It's either you give the young lady the position for real, but you can't have two chief extension officers. They don't exist. It never exists. There's no assistant chief extension officer. There's one chief extension officer. So agriculture got two right now. You understand? Mrs. Hanley and Mr. Reed. You know, so which one will let the real chief extension officer stand up? I will say the real shady stand up. Well, more answer the real chief extension officer stand up. Because only one could on paper, yes, so that's how the civil service function. So how you have we have one young and the most bigger up and the chief and the young extension officers and the display that I mentioned last week when it comes to the agriculture open day. You understand? They have the marigold mixed between the vegetables, which will keep off worms. They have the drone for spraying. They have the different stuff for mapping technology. They have plant recycling battles and all this different stuff, and with drip system and the matting and all. Beautiful. And as I spoke to him, tell him you always got to keep repeating stuff and showing, reminding people these are the way to go all the time. So it's just like you might look like you're doing the same thing over and over, but people will catch on because somebody who didn't come the last time will see it. So you just can never stop doing these things. You see what I mean? So never feel like, oh, you're just doing this. No, you got to do the simplest things. It's simplicity that works. And by adding the marigold and all them things, there was a nice touch to it. And then you could still sell the marigold and they do keep our plants and they send the trap bees and stuff like the good pollinators. And also, you got to big up, you understand, the young extension officers and all those who bring everything together. The veterinarian section did a beautiful job. Gary always not the ball at the park when they come to the abattoir and stuff like that. And agro processing, they always set up nicely, do the tacos and the flowers and all them different. So overall, you understand, you just got to put all those who come together and put you understand, the event and stuff like that. But it was a big disappointment. There was a cannabis display at this year. You understand, it really disappointed the whole sector. Because there are people last year who just filled the park just to go there for that, and patronize a lot of people. And it was broken down to when people said, "Boy, people don't understand, the park getting a lot of these people because of the incident. People came up and saying it extra for all these things." So it showed the spin-up that does happen. But you see what I mean? And if you're going to be moving into this industry, after the next 2 months, you'll have the music festival and all this different stuff. In these times, you really can't be going around and fighting people for a non-poisonous plant. And the police officers and them, and the Prime Minister and the Minister of Agriculture, both in what I don't even mention Navis, because Navis seem like we did not even have one. A Mark supposed to be Minister of Agriculture, because he's the commanding chief, because he see Minister of Agriculture fail, and he entertaining the nonsense. So we don't understand how they want to work. So the whole cabinet in this whole boat together, because none of them could talk about Indian Castle, Fortry, Orchard, You see what I mean? You know, and they are speaking about food security, and they're not speaking about cannabis. So you show Navis have no interest in cannabis. I guess later on, I don't just turn cannabis over to the federal government, let them do geothermal. I guess that is the plan too. I don't get it. Yeah, son.
Well, in relation to cannabis, I was of the view that, especially seeing that um, the the laws in relation to cannabis has been decriminalized. Um, I think that a moratorium should have been had until they get themselves fully organized. There's certain things that are already in place, and I think in our fairness too, um, we as a people do have a responsibility to seek to inform ourselves. Um, I I want to take this time to go back a little bit and comment also when you spoke about the members of the agricultural department, and I want to commend the members of the PRO team, the public relations team, who are doing the work in terms of doing their videos and going out
Yeah,
and
Chevron, yeah,
presenting
big up
information
Chevron, definitely.
and
And
making
To young guy, yeah.
agriculture relevant still. I'm really proud
Yes.
of what you guys are doing, and I want to encourage you all to continue to do more. Go and look for even some of the old farmers, even some of those who are retired and so on, and give them a chance to shine and share some of their knowledge and
Of
experience
course.
still with some of the younger folks and so on. And that's a way still of giving them a little bit while they're still around. Even people like Elmos, the tractor man and so on, who's still around. You could interview him because that man was driving tractors for almost all his life. You know, and
Yes.
so things like these are little things, initiatives that you can do to help to um, give them a little bit more of what they really deserve. Because I think, just like I feel right now in some relations to how our teachers are treated, I think some of the farmers are within that category as well. They're really making some significant contributions towards nation development, but at the same time, a lot of what they do go unnoticed. Um, so as I talked about the PRO for agriculture on a whole, um, there is a document that I bumped into sometime the other day, and it kind of took me back a little bit because I was saying that a lot is not being done in terms of public relations where cannabis is concerned. But I find this was quite an interesting article, and I think maybe I may need to even share it myself on various platforms and so on. So it kind of gives a synopsis of some of the things that can be done and that's already in place, and what you can do and can't do and all of that and so on. So if while we are waiting on our guests to get settled and all that, I'll take a few minutes and read through a little bit of what this um, thing is. It's called Cannabis Clarity. I think it's the Nevis, so you can Google it. It's online. It says Cannabis Clarity. Think it's a Nevis. It says the new cannabis regime legalizes religious and freedom of conscious cultivation, possession, and use of cannabis. The Constitution protects freedom of conscience, including religious freedom. The High Court recognizes Rastafari as protected religion. Rastafari groups can now cultivate and use cannabis for sacramental purposes at their registered places of assembly. The new laws also allow licensed individuals to possess limited amounts of cannabis, cultivate up to 5 plants, and smoke cannabis in designated public areas. Similar possession, cultivation, and smoking outside of designated smoking areas without a license are ticketable offenses. There are responsibilities for all individuals licensed or otherwise, including restrictions on driving under the influence and selling without a license. Minors are prohibited from cultivation and use. Designated smoking areas are regulated by the chief medical officer, and a $500 ticket can be issued for smoking outside of those areas. So these are things that if you're, you know, curious about, if you want to challenge the government on any of these things, this is what the government is presenting in relation to what is taking place with cannabis right now. So in relation to religious freedom of conscience, cultivation, possession and smoking, it is legal for a person who holds a license issued under the Freedom of Conscience Cannabis Act to cultivate up to 5 plants in a secured area within their private premises, possess up to 56 grams or 2 ounces of cannabis in certain public spaces, possess up to 15 grams or 0.5 ounces of cannabis resin in certain public places, smoke cannabis or cannabis resin in areas designated for smoking pursuant to the Smoking in Designated Areas Act. Rastafari group, cultivation and possession of smoking. It is legal for adult members of a Rastafari group holding a registration certificate issued under the Rastafari Right Recognition Act 2023 to grow, harvest, dry, trim, cure, possess, and smoke cannabis as a sacrament for upliftment or edification at a registered place of assembly. So 2 things you must remember and realize here, that it is legal, yes, for the Rastafari group, but you must be holding a registration certificate issued under the Rastafari Rights Recognition Act of 2023. And the other point that should be is significant here is that you're entitled to grow, harvest, dry, trim, cure, possess, and smoke cannabis as a sacrament for upliftment or edification at a registered place of assembly. So which means you have to register that place as a place of assembly. So these are things that, you know, we have to look at the particulars in the way these things are, you know, written. The criminalization of cultivation, possession, smoking of cannabis. While it is no longer a criminal / jailable offense, a person who does not hold a license issued under the Freedom of Conscience Cannabis Act can receive a ticket. So bear in mind that some of these things are permissible hinged upon you having these licenses or these regulations. So you have to have that license. So while it is no longer a criminal offense, so it's not criminal and it's not necessarily jailable, but a person who does not hold a license issued under the Freedom of Conscience Act can receive a ticket if they, 1, cultivate up to 5 cannabis plants in a secured area within their private premises. But if you don't have the license and you're doing that, you can get a ticket of $50. If you possess up to 56 grams or 2 ounces of cannabis in certain public places, you can still get a ticket up to $50. Possess up to 15 grams or 0.5 ounces of cannabis resin in certain public places, you can still be ticketed. If you smoke, vape, cannabis or cannabis resin outside areas designated for smoking, pursuant to the Smoking Designated Areas Act, there is a $500 ticket attached to that.
So the smoking act goes to everything, cigarette,
yes,
tobacco,
yes,
anything, everything.
Yes.
So
according to the laws that they put in place, yes.
So you know when the fight, so when you're driving and you're smoking your cigar and your tobacco, is the same thing with the cannabis. Then there should be a problem with with the cannabis, though. With the different.
According to the regulation, because what happened
Uh-huh.
is they had seek to just do it for cannabis, but then they got a pushback. It was a fair pushback as
No, I
well
mean when
because I
I
was
know if
one
people drive
I was one who
outside.
was challenging that.
Yes, I mean when people driving and smoking a cigar and smoking the cigarette in the vehicle up and down the place and walking up and down the street. You understand? In
Yeah,
illegal,
so
right?
that yeah, according to the law now, it is
Yes.
because what the
To
law
drive, to
what they're
drive, to
claiming.
drive, driving in the vehicle
I don't know
and
about
smoking
I don't know
cigarette.
about the driving part. I don't know about the
But
driving
they're gonna
part.
make
I know
this.
they said you
But this
can't
is why I
drive with
said that.
cannabis.
Well,
Hmm.
that's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to differentiate. Why the cannabis part? What the difference with the cigar and the tobacco and the cigarette? That's
Well,
what I'm
no, but
asking. That's what I want to know.
in terms of the public spaces, in terms of the public space though, that's why I say I'm not
You
sure about the
understand the part
driving part.
there?
But in terms of the
Yes. Kind
public
of people calling
space,
on the radio and
the
making all kind of noise and
regulations is
saying, "Oh,
put in place for
yes,
everything. So
I got
the
you.
designated areas, in those designated areas,
Yeah,
you'll be designated to smoke anything. But outside of that, you're not supposed to smoke anything. So
I
the
got you.
same would apply if they catch you outside and you're smoking cigarette in the designated areas or the tobacco in it. But I have
Yes.
not seen a charge here if they catch you
Mm-hmm.
smoking cigarette or tobacco outside of the designated area. But there's a specific charge for cannabis.
That's the whole
So
point.
that is something
That's the
that
whole
is
point.
something that maybe need to be um, clarified.
That's being biased. That being biased then.
No, I'm not sure. See, I am not sure, but I know that
Or
that
we
is what
just
they're
read.
saying specifically for cannabis. I'm reading for. Remember, what I'm reading here is from what they're speaking to in
Yes.
relation to cannabis. So I know that they would have
Yes.
changed the regulations for, because like I said, when they came out with the attempt first, it was being discriminatory because they were only looking to um, put cannabis in what you call segregated areas, right? So then
Yeah.
there was a pushback
Of
from the
course.
public, and the public was like, "Well, what happened to the other? You know, what I mean, what happened to those people who smoke cigarettes and so on? That's a
Well,
problem too." So then they went
well,
back
let
in
me
the
get back
house,
into this.
and then they changed the
Yes.
regulations to say that is in these designated smoking areas, you can smoke anything. Well, that is legal. Let me put it that way, because the
Yes.
other things. But anything
Yeah,
that is legal, like tobacco and cigarette and so
yes.
on, in those and cannabis now because it is decriminalized, in those designated areas you can now smoke. Outside of
Yes.
that, what I'm saying is
Of course.
because of what
I
I am
got you.
reading now, is specific to cannabis, it is telling you what they will do in relation to cannabis. What I don't know is if that $500 too would be applied to if they catch you smoking cigarette and tobacco, I mean, and cigars or whatever outside of a non-designated area. That is something I guess I would have to clarify, but I don't know for sure at this point.
All right. We're gonna continue. We're gonna continue the discussion.
Yes,
We
because we
have
have
our
the
guest
guest. Yes.
Mikey. Yeah, was here. We spoke last Tuesday. We spoke on the topics where we spoke about stroke and stuff like that. Mikey, welcome. How you doing? We have you here for a few minutes because you wanted to share something with the general public, the listening audience, and the viewing audience. Mikey,
Yeah, I think your mic is on mute. You need to.
you mute your mic. How are you, Mikey? Can't hear you. Can't. Go ahead, yes, and let me till I figure out Mikey.
Yes. Okay. Well, in the meantime, I guess I can um, continue with reading out this until Banky and Mikey get themselves started out on that,
Yeah, let him check
right?
his mic and stuff like that. Yes.
Uh, so let's see if we can get back to this story here. Okay, so responsibilities of all persons cultivating, possessing, or smoking cannabis. No cultivation of cannabis unless in a secured area within a private residence so as to prevent minors or persons vulnerable to substance abuse from accessing such plants or any unauthorized access to such plants.
But how that make any
Responsibilities of
sense
all.
when the plant is not and the plant is non-poisonous?
Well, it's non-poisonous, but even though it's non-poisonous, rum is non-poisonous, but you still have a rule or regulation that you don't want to have rum exposed to minors. So because you have a regulation that says it should not be
When you say rum
within,
non-poisonous,
well, okay, well, maybe not a good
that's the
example.
most
Maybe not a good
dangerous
example.
drug. That's the most dangerous
Um,
drug that brethren. When you're drunk,
um,
you back up your wife,
well,
you rape
okay.
your children,
Um,
them, you don't even you lose your short-term memory. Is the most dangerous drug is alcohol. They mash up all your organs in your body, your kidney, your liver, your heart. And the worst drug there is, you do any nutritional course, they tell you alcohol is the worst and most dangerous drug there is. Come on, what may I hear what you
yes,
say?
but
If
I use the example in the sense that
uh-huh,
okay, it is, even though it is a drug and it is being made
uh-huh,
legal, it is still
uh-huh.
regulated because they still put an age limit to it, so to speak, that for you
You
to
buy in the
get it.
house,
And that's why
but in the house,
I
in
just
the house, is it in the public, but in the house, and the most room in the house, more than
well,
wait.
the thing is,
Wait,
it is expected that adults would function like adults and would be able to be responsible and not
uh-huh.
allow their children to be exposed to these things. So that is the
So who put the age?
understanding that
So, so which adult were at the age of consent to 16, but you can't vote and you can't get the letter? You expect adults to do these things? You know the
well,
sense. You understand?
it's the expectation. It is the expectation. Um,
We expect the
and
ranks
so
from the ranks of the
I guess
people.
they're putting that in. I guess they're putting it in provision to say, according to the law, minors should not be exposed to it as it is in the
Yes.
regulation. So then they're seeking to ensure that
The,
that is
the
adhered
people
to
who are right,
by putting these
the masses.
additional things in place to say that it must
Yes,
be,
and the people who are
you
right
can
about
have a
herb.
business.
No, nothing about herb. You understand? They just a fight the herb. That's the simple
Well,
consensus.
true,
Those
true.
the masses put a put and circle it around of it, still putting the twist to fight it. But yet them is the one who gonna come behind to benefit the most with the business partners. Because we understand what we're manifesting, so we now shun it, we now pretend around it, because we know that the way it's gonna happen. So when you see things for what it is, with all the flaws and in between whatever, that's all gonna happen. Because when people have the love for money, that's all they want to be a part of. But they can't plant. Because you all need farmers. But they got that, it's just money, money, money. Mikey, you there? You get everything sorted out? Mikey, last time it was cool. Go ahead, your son.
Okay, yes. So yeah, I do understand where you're coming from, Banky, and we do share the same views in the sense that for me, cannabis should be legal. Cannabis should just be like another plant. It shouldn't be even having all this stress that they're trying to have surrounding the plant and so on. However, in a realistic world, in the world that we are living, I'll put it that way, in the world that we are living in today, um, there are things that are being done, and what we can do here now is as we get exposed to this information, and as I'm reading it out and it's sounding out and so on, we can jot down the things that we would want to challenge. But the reality is, what I'll be reading, or what I am reading, is what they already have in place. And so they're just informing you that this is what is
Yes.
taking place, and this is what you have to deal with and address. If you have issues with some of these things, this is where now we have to challenge. That part is what
But
I'm
these
saying
things were
is,
mentioned. But these things were mentioned when we had Ras IUI before, because he's a part of the Cannabis Authority. We have Ras Aya, and they spoke about all these different stuff like that. You see what I mean? So those, so they are part of it. You see what I mean?
mhm.
So, but I don't think
So
they agree.
I'll continue here.
Yeah.
Responsibilities of all persons cultivating, possessing, or smoking cannabis. No selling of cannabis unless licensed to do so by the Medical Cannabis Authority. So this is another issue here now that so which means even though they'll be recreational and even though they'll be religious or spiritual, um, if you're going to get engaged in the business of cannabis, it must happens under the Medical Cannabis Authority. This is based on my interpretation of what I'm just reading here, because it's saying no selling of cannabis unless licensed to do so by the Medical Cannabis Authority. So these are things that I guess as I'm going through this myself too, is cause for looking at certain things and for us to really really
But
delve into
I
the
went to all that. But I went to all those different stuff, all the shows we have done, all those different stuff. Is the same thing you're reading. Ain't nothing changed, you know. Are the same stuff you're going through is what Dr. Garfield Alexander, went on a different radio show doing all this thing. Is the same thing just been repeating. They just put out this into the general public
Mhm,
to have access to, in a
mhm.
sense. You understand what I mean? I'm not sure recently this came
Right.
up, but you understand, put all this information together in a sense and send it, cause it seemed going out lately. Well, I get it today, but these are, I'm not sure, because the Cannabis Authority something is going to be pushing to come to the 25th, why they doing some PRO to the journal. You understand what I mean?
Oh,
Instead of beefing up stuff.
it was published since 2023. It's just that we probably were not
Okay.
aware of it. And the publication, it was there for some time now. So I'm just saying,
But
I'm just kind of reading it
circulating,
out so that people
yes,
also can know that it is there. And some of what is there, because there's some people who still might not even go and
of
read
course.
it. Mikey is started out yet? No? It still look frozen. But if he's back, we would accommodate him. But you could
You
go
look,
ahead and figure out
no, I
what's
can't
going
hear.
on with him. Um, so no smoking of cannabis in a private residence that is used at any time to provide licensed child care or other similar social services during hours of operation. So basically, if you have a little daycare or something like that at home, a little pet or whatever, you should not be smoking cannabis in that private residence that is used anytime for that sort of um, business or social service. Maybe like if you're looking after elderly or something like that as well, that might be. Well, let me not add to what they have here. Let me just say what they have. Responsibilities of all persons cultivating and possessing. No driving whilst under the influence of cannabis. Also, no possession or smoking of cannabis on a school bus, school premises, or at any private residence that is located within 300 feet of a school during regular hours of operation on the, during the operation of the school.
So what the
No
difference
smoking
between
of cannabis.
driving and smoking at other stuff, cigarette, tobacco products? What the difference be? Mr. Ask simple question,
Well,
no.
well, for sure, there are regulations against alcohol. In terms of cigar and tobacco, um, that is
And
a
over
question.
and over those the pharmaceutical drugs over the counter will make you fall asleep. All them things they put all them in the same category too.
Well,
than
I
legal
don't know,
drugs?
but I know that remember, based on the classification of cannabis, remember the premise that they're going on, is a Schedule One
Was
drug,
are they
and
change
based
their
on
mind?
their
The mind not
research.
change, you know. So which is it? Either going this way,
Well,
or you're
I
going
guess
that
it's
way.
still on the,
And you keep mixing up, contradicting yourself because you don't know which way you want to go. Can be either in the river
well,
or you're in the bank. You know, you have it both ways. One foot in the
well,
river, one foot on the bank.
um, they they still see cannabis as uh what do you say, like hallucinogen,
That's funny.
hallucinogen, and they would still deem that, um, according to them, the effect can
Mm-hmm.
impede your um, level of alertness and all of these different things and so on. So I guess they will have their
Mm-hmm.
regulations with that is concerned. I guess the argument might be that you don't get that the level of effect that you get from the cannabis is not what you would get from tobacco or cigar. There's no evidence to substantiate that it would alter your state or um, of
Mm-hmm.
mind. It may be damaging to your health, but in terms of
Mm-hmm.
altering your consciousness or impeding your ability or inability to function. So that might be the argument from that premise. Um,
You sound like you're on the
Responsibility is
border.
okay. The guy on the board. No, I'm just
Yeah.
looking at the issues as they will be presented. I see Mikey ain't come back yet. Okay. No smoking of
Yes,
cannabis outside designated. He was back, but he seemed like he gone again. No smoking
yeah,
of
but he
cannabis
not,
outside
not hearing him.
No smoking of cannabis
But
outside designated smoking areas or at registered places of assembly pursuant to Rastafari Rights Recognition Act 2023. So technically that is saying you can only smoke in designated areas or those places that are registered, and these places for Rastafari, you can't just get up and say this is your place of worship. You can't just get up and say, well, yeah, this is where we chill out. This is the place of worship. No, you got to register that place as your place of worship. So these are things that you have to pay attention to as well in terms of how all of these things are being playing out. No storing, handling, or otherwise keeping cannabis in such a manner so as to allow minors or persons vulnerable to substance abuse to access cannabis. No storing, handling, or otherwise keeping cannabis in such a manner so as to allow unauthorized access to cannabis. So you should be able to have, if you're home or whatever, you should have your cannabis secured in such a way that your children shouldn't be able to just pick it up and then have an overdose and next thing end up in the hospital or whatever the case may be. So these are things that you have to pay attention to. However,
where
I
you going?
find that it is
Where you
it
going?
is quite uh, interesting bit of information, and so folks who are interested
Right there.
in
What do
getting
you
up to
know?
date with what's going on with the cannabis um, issues here on St. Kitts and Nevis, you can check out Cannabis Clarity, St. Kitts and Nevis, and it should give you a good idea of where we are at this point and some of the possible issues that would need some clarity along the way, as Banky is pointing out some of them as we are um, going through this. Um, you know, that part there, Banky, that speaks to, in order for anybody to sell, have to
Yes.
get that through the medical authority. What are your thoughts on that?
Crap.
There's no
A
selling
lot
of
of
cannabis unless
a lot of things.
licensed to do so by the
Strict
Medical
legalization.
Cannabis
Yes.
Authority.
Strictly legalization. Me not for all these rules and all these things. Them, you know. Man, you understand? Because I see all plant as plant. Everything the Father created is good. Anything you overuse could be bad. When you're drinking water too much and all these things, you're eating too much of protein, you end up with, you know what I mean? kenosis the same way,
Okay. Now,
it's just I just everything virgin. It just listen, the moringa is just as powerful as the cannabis plant. You see what I mean, along with other herbs of the phytochemical cells and stuff like that. But the problem of the world is man, and this and what they put in place people to man this system, because it's the discretion. You have a small percentage of society that you'll find doing one or two things within, and those people who the system talking about who puffing and smoking, them are the same people who still the government still paying them money. You see what I mean? The same, so they can't control the what must say, the employees. You see, so grown men and grown women is caught up in the what must say the unfortunate act of these politicians and their friends, because that way it is the children and them are pediment it. You understand? Millions and millions of dollars. So that's the issue. So it's not like they say you or they see me some up and a smoke up on the place in the face and something and buy some band. Then I see that. The masses who use herb, then I see them virgin. The people who use the herb never lax on the head. And I keep saying this stuff over and over and over. The people who relax who use the herb are police, are liars, are doctors. The same people who skin up their face, you understand, and their friends that look down upon you, them friends who they know you use the same herb, do them in the bank, them put on the place. Herb not gonna face. Cannabis have no
well,
face. You see,
well,
that is what they now see.
that is very true.
Cannabis not have
That
no
is very
face. Is not gender bias, virgin. And everybody do not smoke the herb. You understand? People use the herb in different ways. Some people just use it as teas. There are people who actually they never smoke herb yet. Other you use in different ways. Cook it, make teas. So I will just listen to people and so on how they speak and just listen and just be amused and just watch Popcorn as a movie to me, because you're just thinking one way and not being rational. You see what I mean? And the stuff that the non you'll find more non-smokers end up with heart and lungs cancer, and the evidence is there. So what are going to say? Lungs cancer for the not smoke. You see what I mean? So all this we are just being bamboozled and being tricked by a lot of stuff,
well.
and people
As you
not
talk
really
about
thinking.
bamboozle, as you talk about being bamboozled, right?
Yeah.
Here is something that I am, as I'm going through this learning curve, if I may choose to call it that way. As I am going through this, I am beginning to see
So Mikey, you
something.
there?
He was there a while ago, but he's posing again. He was seeing him visually, but I think he's still probably having some issues with his audio. But Banky, now
Yes.
here's one of the things that I am becoming more aware of, right? And it is kind of troubling to some extent.
Mhm.
Like, okay, so we have the issue of cannabis, right? And we 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 would have looked at,
Yeah.
okay, cannabis broken down in three different areas. They have the medicinal, they have the recreational, and you also have the religious or spiritual side, right?
Yes.
The government at this point would have started to break up even the responsibilities for cannabis into different ministries, so to speak. So you have medical cannabis or medicinal cannabis that seemingly has been placed under agriculture, but
Mm-hmm.
recreational and religious or spiritual has been placed under the Ministry of Ecclesiastic. So
Mm-hmm.
all that we are seeing here, and let me hear if Mikey, you can hear Mikey. So Mikey says something. We can see you, but we're not hearing you. So let's see if you try it again, say something, and see if we can hear you. No. So we're not hearing you. So if you could hear me, yes, but maybe you need to check something with your mic or something, because we can see you and it seems as if yes, you are hearing us, but we are not hearing you. I can see your mouth moving when you try to talk, but we are not hearing you. So try to figure out what is happening on your side.
I wonder if
There
you can
is
put in a headphone if that would work. Unless something is mute somewhere. Or black. I'm not sure. Okay. What the last time you're there, Mikey? I guess you can hear us. The last time when you're on, just do the same thing that you did, and we hear you loud and clear. Okay, it's the same link, the same procedure, and nothing changed. Are you? So you get it figured out. Take your time. Everything on the line. Just take your time. We hear. Once we get in, then you get the time to do your thing. So don't lose no patience. Minor matters. Me and your son I'm going here mumbling until you figure it out. Go on, your son.
yeah. So I was saying, from what we're seeing here, right? From how
Yes.
I am seeing things happen. So we have these three different categories.
Mm-hmm.
Medicinal is being placed under agriculture. Recreational and spiritual is under ecclesiastic.
So why is that?
Right?
Why is that?
I don't know exactly why that is, but what I'm seeing happening, and this is why I guess it is being brought closer to my attention, because I
Mm-hmm.
am seeing that, for example, in relation to the medicinal side of cannabis, that the government would have gone ahead and seek to set up a board and an authority and all that. But up to this point, there has not been any headway being made in terms of addressing the issues what would be concerning the recreational and the spiritual side. Let me not say they have not done anything, because that would not be fair to say. Because we would have read just a while ago that they would have put certain things in place. As to say, you'll have to get a license to grow 5 plants, and you have to have whatever these things be for you to have these things. Now, the question is, the authority is going to be open up in the next couple of weeks,
25th. 25th of this month.
and so would it be the authority that would be responsible for those same licenses that you need under ecclesiastic? Would they be responsible for all of the licenses, or those that you need for ecclesiastic, you'd have to go to ecclesiastic? And if that is the case, what I'm seeking to find is, then why are we not hearing from that ministry, which I think should be under Jeffrey Hanley, in relation to what is going on with cannabis on that side in terms of the ecclesiastic? Are they
Well, let me
ready to
declare.
roll out licenses as well?
Well, let me declare to general public. Me not part of nothing. Cause they keep calling me number like me the CEO and me the chairperson. Me no know where I get this thing from. Me just like a IO. So let me and I keep declaring it over and over and over and over. You understand? Cause anything with cannabis, I be them a call. Where you get this? Where you get this? Where you get that? Where you get one to the things? Call the Minister of Agriculture. Both in St. Kitts Nevis, call the PS them, call the director and them, call the Cannabis Authority, because Shabazz Bank is not a part of anything. He's just a regular citizens who doing his part in trying to educate the general public of the herb. That's all it is. But me not part of not a thing. Yes, the federal government has chose me as a technician to travel to Southern University. And you understand, when it comes to cannabis and also into of agricultural plants and stuff like that at the Tabasco at the same trip. But that's basically it. But I'm not a part of these anything when it comes to the cannabis. You understand? I just understand the plant and it's just a plant, just like a banana tree. You see, it's just that throughout the years, the same more loudspeakers them who and the distinguished men them who talking about herb because they love money. They don't fight the herb so much. They come back around and them are the mouthpiece for the herb. So we don't trust them people there. Never did. So you fight something, but also no, you're the mouthpiece. You see, your son, and then you have to go to the preacher man them who fight herb to tell you, give you. Will this make any sense? Well, this make any sense?
Well,
So in a might as
this
well
is
the preacher
why.
man you make any sense? So the church go weed then. The church supposed to go weed because the preacher in charge of weed. So the preacher man is supposed to go the most weed. The church and them supposed to get into the cannabis business as far as me see. Because everything is in the hand.
But
The office is in the hand.
based on what this is saying and how this thing seems to be structured, that might not necessarily be possible, because based on what we are seeing here, remember what we just read here, that in order for you to get a license, it has to come under the medicinal authority. So
Well, the church
this
can
is
one
why
under the medicine authority if the church one because it's a same alliance. If the church want to get into the business, they just get. Remember, it's church and state, you know. So if they want to get into the business, they will get the license. Either I'm just saying, I just put it around because they are already involved, they're intertwined. They are one.
right.
That's where they're part of it. You see what I mean? You understand the bigger picture, you know. That's where they
But
involve. So where they involve.
yes, but so so okay. So I'm
Where
trying
the
to
church involved?
figure out.
Where the church come in? Where the church come in?
Under
when they want to fight for the
well,
years.
the church
Me
come
not
in
understand that.
because
Uh-huh.
according to the law, remember they can't just prejudice and say um
They can't?
they 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 they're just dealing with um cannabis on the religious side for Rastafari alone. So when you come under religious, if you categorize it under religious, Rastafari is not necessarily the only religious organization that uses cannabis as a part of their
So the Jehovah
practices.
Witness, the Methodist,
No,
the
not on St. Kitts and
Anglican.
Nevis. Not on St. Kitts and
What?
Nevis. There's not much any other. But in terms of creating a law, a regulation,
Yes.
you can't just think about the religions that are in your country when you're democratic. So what if another person from another practice come in? So the law should be able to be structured
Yes.
to cover all religious organizations. So I think that is the essence of how they would have started. But what I am like looking at is, okay, so if the medicinal that the government is pushing, medicinal side that they are focused or zoomed in on, and the recreational and spiritual is kind of left in a corner, um, then it means that that side of things, unless we agitate, we who might not necessarily be interested in the medicinal approach, agitate to really get to what is really going on with the recreational and spiritual side of things, then at this point we're going to be left continued. We're going to be continue to be left in limbo in relation to how we could move or should move and so on. Because that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like for that recreational side, do you have to go to Mr. Jeffrey Hanley to get those licenses? And if so, are they ready at this point? Can one go and get those licenses? Because people are being harassed right now, and I'm sure some of those
Yes.
people who are being harassed for whatever reason, in either case, at this point, may or would have to pay a fine. So remember, they say they're not going to jail you anymore, but you'll be able to you'll be charged a ticket if caught with whether these 56 grams, even if it's 56 grams, but you're not in a designated area or whatever it is, you can still be ticketed. So
So yeah,
if
so your
there's
son.
no Mhm.
So the way how they going when they say they open up the office in the 25th of this month, and is what they're gonna Cause we don't know, so therefore I think then they should have a press conference. I can't tell people how to do the work, You see what I mean?
Well,
But at
me,
least
no,
come
but
out
this
as
is
a
what
PRO
this is why I'm asking these
and
things.
speak
Because
what to expect. What to expect? Are you'll be able to get a license and to start open up a coffee shop or whatever it is. And I mean, they gotta open up the office, but come forward and start give you some preliminary ideas of what is about to take place. I mean, I understand how you function things. These are
well,
brilliant people,
we ain't know all that yet. But what I'm trying to clarify is
It's just
if
less
when
than
this
few
authority
weeks.
opens up, then if when this authority
You will
opens up, if it is only
yes.
going to be addressing the licenses for sale and um, dispensaries and all of these other things, but the things that are related to recreational and religious, if you would have to go to Mr. Hanley,
Yeah,
who is the
then what
Minister of
keeping them from
Ecclesiastic,
so long from being coming to speak about these things as a board, as yeah, I mean, as a chair.
well, maybe us not agitating enough, maybe us not
When we ask for
pushing.
you doing your work, you must do the information. Otherwise, you people have to assume you have enough people on the
That is what
board.
is
You see
happening.
what I
That is
mean?
what has been happening over the years. Because remember, since 2019, they would have made these changes in the bank, and we in 2025 now, and still
Yes,
almost as confused as we were when those changes were made in 2019. So that is why we are having these kind of conversations and seeking to put the information that they have presented out there, and even use what they have presented still to show that there are still some,
of
inadequacies
course.
in terms of what is presented, so that we're still not clarified, we're still not clear on a lot of things. Or I'm sure some people, based on some of these things that we're discussing right now, are like, okay, I mean, I never really looked at it that way, I thought of it that way, and you know what I mean? And that is what is happening at this point, because,
Yes,
like I'm saying, and I guess it's something that people might not have been paying attention to, which even myself too, because I think it was a conversation I had with Alan that kind of really got me to look at this thing from a different perspective, and realizing that like a lot of what's going on and what we're discussing is in relation to the medical side. And I guess maybe we have been
of
pushed into
course.
that because
It's always been the medical
it's
side the
because that is the
pushing. That's
part
just that's what
that is the
the
part that the
pushing.
government is seeking to push,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Mikey is back, so let me see if he got his voice yet. Mikey?
Hey,
Ah,
Beautiful,
right. Mikey's
beautiful.
here with us, man. Mikey's
Yes,
here with
yes,
us.
nice.
Okay, so
All right.
um yeah. So just set yourself now and be ready to go. So you got it sorted out. All right. You see, patience is a
okay,
virtue. We're
okay.
sometimes, but we're still here.
Yeah, man.
So just to wrap up that little point there, Banky, I think that that is something that we really need to clarify. I would really love clarification. I think I might have to try and see if I could reach out to the Ministry of Ecclesiastics so I could get some more clarity where this part is concerned. Because from my understanding, what I am gathering is that on the 25th, what we're looking forward to is the opening of the Cannabis Medical Authority, Medicinal Authority, which is going to be dealing with the issues that fall under the medicinal category of cannabis. And they have been placed under specifically the agricultural ministry. Whereas the recreational and spiritual have been placed under the ministry of ecclesiastic, which is two different ministry. So seemingly recreational and ecclesiastic might not necessarily be under agriculture. So all of that we need to clear up as well. So when we think that all of it is under agriculture, it might not necessarily be that way. So these are things that we have to clear up as we continue. So I before I jump into the conversation with Mikey, just gonna say good night to Jan Carlisle, Yvonne Jeffers, who said good morning. Lauret Wharton, who also said good morning from the UK. You've got Heavenly Joy locked in. And I don't know all the others who are locked in, but it's a pleasure having you guys. On a Friday evening, you could have been doing so many other things, but you're here locked in with us, and it's a pleasure having you. We would have had a little bit of challenge with Mikey getting his audio sorted out, but it's a pleasure, and we do have the patience. I mean, for those of you who did not listen last week, Mikey is our special guest, and Mikey would have shared his story with us last week. Very touching story. Um, for those who might not know, Mikey was a very prominent, successful banker here on Nevis, worked in the Bank of Nevis. He left. He was in Germany, I think.
No,
And
no.
someday he was
The U.S. Yeah.
in the US. Okay. And
Yes.
he got into a football accident, so to speak. They were playing football. He and this other player, they had what they call a header. Instead of heading the ball, well, the both of them collided. As a result, he eventually, just to give a summary, he got a stroke, and he was diagnosed with something that is called aphasia. Remember the word from last week? And so it kind
Yes.
of made him unable to speak. And so he would have been going through for a couple of years now speech therapy to get himself back into. He's conscious of a lot of things, but in terms of sometimes bringing it out to say it is a little challenge. So he's here this evening to share with us some news or some things that he might be doing. So we will give him the opportunity again to express himself. So Mikey, welcome to Everything Agriculture. Welcome to Radio Entertainment platform.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. I am here. Last week, I did not tell you what aphasia is. So I want to read what aphasia is. And then I will share a story that my sister, Kim, wrote about me. She was in college, and she have a class with aphasia people, and she will. I will read you the story that she wrote about me, but I will tell you what aphasia is. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I have a completely global aphasia in 2010, a completely global aphasia. Now I could, maybe I will about 70 to 70% well, you know? So, I am a fighter and still fighting. Okay. Do you ever heard the word aphasia? In the United States of America, only 8% heard the word aphasia. Okay. What is aphasia? Aphasia is a language disorder that affects the ability to communicate. It's most often caused by stroke that occur in area of the brain, usually in the left side of the brain, because mine was on the left side and it affect my right side. You know, let's say you somebody else got the brain affect on the right side, is the left side affect, you know, like it's cracks, you know. Okay. Usually in the left side of the brain that control speech and language. Aphasia does not affect intelligent. Stroke survivors remain mentally alert even though their speech may be fragment. Okay? Now, what is aphasia? Okay? I have all of this. The five. I have all of these. Okay? Trouble speaking, like getting the word out. Trouble finding words. Problem understanding what others said. Problem with reading, writing, and math. Inability to process long words and infrequently use words. That is what aphasia is, okay? So now I will read you a story because last week I concentrated on me, but I will read you a story that Kim wrote about me. You see, this is the word expect me, voices of aphasia. Now, Kim, this thing that I read was written in 2014. Okay? Kim Singh was a social work intern in the fall of 2014. But wait. Her journey with aphasia began unacceptably with family. Through her professional education, her journey has grown. Okay? Now, I want really a story about me because I want to tell you that my family and my friend, they were affected by me. You understand?
Of course.
Yeah.
They are support. They can make it a good, strong support system. You understand?
Yes.
So you affect everyday life the same way. Stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Closeness.
I have no idea what aphasia was prior to my brother's stroke. As a matter of fact, I refuse to think that 20 years old, my brother Mike, who is an exercise addict and the most health conscious person in the family, was having a stroke. After almost 4 years, the struggle is still here, but it was gotten gotten much better in terms of dealing with the everyday challenges. I have tried to embrace life no matter how it throws at me. When Mike suffered a stroke, I considered it a miracle, but never have much thought to the person that I would become. Everyone knows that an unexpected sickness could change life forever. It was a beautiful Labor Day weekend when I received a call back from my brother's wife that they were on their way to the hospital. Mike was having a serious bad headache and had shown signs of slurred speech. That was it. When from there everything went downhill, at least until we heard that the surgery to prevent further brain damage was successful. The next few weeks were filled with around-the-clock hospital visit, arrangement, and consultation with doctors. Mike's severe brain damage has left him with the inability to speak, read, write, or walk. After 5 weeks of rehab, Mike left the hospital with the use of a walker and impaired communication due to aphasia. Home became an even more hectic place, juggling, taking turn caring for my brother with the commitment of being a student. Many nights I looked up at the ceiling with my eye filled with tears, unable to fall asleep because I longed for my brother that I used to know. It took me a while before I finally understood that I was not lost my brother, but had simply been too overwhelmed with the changes. The most difficult of all was the fact that we could not communicate like before. There were times when I would not understand what he was trying to say, no matter how hard he tried. It was a difficult journey, but over time, my frustration gave way to patience, understanding, and empathetic communication. Taking care of someone with aphasia is no easy thing to do, especially when you hardly know anything about the disorder. After I learned that I would be working with individuals with aphasia as part of my internship, I knew that I would fit right in. My caring experience and the little I knew about aphasia was helpful as I began working on a professional level. When I look around at the individual that I work with, it clearly make it easier to understand that anybody can be affected with aphasia, and that life can be changed forever. It's funny, but sometimes I wish I turned back the hand of time to life without aphasia. When my brother was strong and active. Today, I am grateful for all the opportunities that I have been given to learn about the disorder. I am in a much better place because I was fortunate to be placed in an internship that really allowed me to see the bigger picture of aphasia and its impact. My brother's strong will and determination to walk, read, write, drive, and speak again have given me hope, because day after day I witness his continued improvement. That is what my sister wrote about me.
Well, for Kim to write that, I know Kim, I know Michelle, I know your family, Mark. Carmen, you know, Philip, being around her, cause she have been around my uncle Mansa and have a child from my uncle Mansa, so I know you guys from since I'm a young lad. You understand?
Yes.
I would say it's like you're a part family, practically, as far as I'm saying. So beautiful sister Kim, and being genuine, the trauma it affected her, and her family and also her children, because you're a love person throughout the thing his name is community. You're a joyful person, people's person, the man of the hour within any conversation. You understand? You're the smooth guy. You understand? Who just keep everybody smiling and get the conversation healthy and stuff like that, keeping the peace and everything together. So I can understand for her to write that piece. It been very difficult for her, and now she said many nights she just staying up, and then what? It's just to show how the universe aligned things. She was just put into an intern, not knowing her brother one day would end up with this situation, and then she will be the one end up going to do an internship, and the internship is on the same thing. Her brother the same illness happened to her brother. You can't make this thing up. So this is not coincidences. This is nothing than coincidence. It's just how the universe put things in place, and it bring a closer relationship between the family, and show how when you're in a situation, is that true support that really keep it going. You understand? So Kim must be commended, for that piece, and it shows a lot. You understand? And it's something, as she said, she haven't lost her brother. It's just that she was so overwhelmed, she just couldn't process not having that drunken conversation and laughing and all. You understand? I say you are very athletic, very, very outgoing, and she do a lot of work. She's an outdoor person, also always do her walkings and different stuff. So I show you all the many of those things together and stuff is like that. You see what I mean? So, and just going out, having fun with different activities that you all are cause, and just to show you have to start everything from scratch.
Yes.
And
her
story, yes. And her story will be similar with I show with Michelle, and other cousins and family, uncles and aunts, but it's just because she's the one who was a part of the internship. She coped differently, work with other people with the same illnesses. We were able to heal her. I'm not saying completely, but at least be able to cope and to deal with her brother in a more easier way. So it's a beautiful piece. You understand? So I must commend her for that. Kim, big up yourself. For putting that piece, because she didn't really have to put it to express her hurt and her love for you in a book. And you understand? And she really speak true to it. And I love that. It's an emotional piece that it is. And she must be commended for stuff like that. Yes, son?
Yes.
And it also means a lot. It also means a lot to I'm sure to her, if she's listening, to even just to hear him read it, to know where he's coming from, because he's talking about, in his first interview here last week, he spoke about the fact that he wasn't even talking at all. He had to go back to learning his ABC and everything all over again. And so, those who might have tuned in a little bit later might have just hearing the reading and might have been,
I think you also mentioned he was in a coma for 2 days or something like that. Mikey was in a coma for 2 days. That's correct?
Yes. 2.5 to 3 days in a coma.
Wow.
And when I woke up, I thought I was dead, you know. I look at the people around me, and I do not know who they were, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
time after time, I realized that the people is a friend, the friends of me and my family, you know.
Yes.
And I do not even know my first name was Dwight.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Let us say I remember Mike because
Mm-hmm.
it's a long time. So I remember Mike, and I have to learn how to spell Dwight.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. Yes,
And
son?
one thing I want to say, we are all blessed. Every day we are all blessed.
Very true.
Just go in the morning. You will say the praises to the Creator,
Yes.
and people would not. You see, I live in love, right? I do not have no enemies. I do not know if I have any enemies outside, but I do not have any enemies. You understand?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you, just live with loving.
Love. Divine love.
Mm-hmm. Just live with a loving heart, and that alone will help you to gain back your strength, you know?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, son?
Well, it's just, very touching and emotional, listening to Mike, and I can relate to him, and as I listen to the story, I can relate to um, the experience and the way she feels, and having that experience. And I think now she works in social services, right? So I think you could see why and how all of that.
Who?
Um, him, she's not in social services.
I'm not
Trinidad,
sure.
In
Nevis,
Nevis.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I thought, I figured she had 4 seasons. I don't know why she working at
No,
She was. That
no,
was a long
because
time ago. It was
she,
a long time ago.
yeah, she,
I didn't know that. I
she,
didn't know she moved from 4 seasons.
yeah, yeah, she studied, what she studied? She
Sociology.
studied social work.
Oh, I didn't know that. And I know
Yes.
the last. Okay, all right. Well, that beautiful thing.
Yeah, so
Yes.
like as you spoke, I kind of started to see the connection and how all of that could, lean into that, because things like these,
Yes.
like as you pointed out, experiences like these. I mean, I could relate to that story. I mean, I had that experience personally, similarly, with Sean Pufeld, rest in peace. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um,
True.
Mhm.
because I grew up with Sean, like my brother. You
Yes.
know what I mean? First son, Wiggly, one son, so to speak. Well, not one son, Wiggly son at the time who was around in Nevis. It was just me, Sean and Shy. That's what we were, Sean and Shy,
Yes.
right?
True.
And we used to go summertime. We would go to St. Thomas or St. Croix together. Me and Sean, we grew up like that, and then
You man,
eventually when he
brilliant
had that
view.
brain tumor, and
Yes.
so to be able
Yes.
to see him go through that, it was really hard for me, to that's why I could relate to Tim, because it was hard for me to
But
know, boy, last year me and Sean went go live and all it, you know what I mean, and then to see him like that, it
Yes.
was
many nights,
Yes.
always
many nights I'm in town and we outside by Sean home. It can reach in town, cross the street by the nest, then just talking from one thing to the next. Just kind of a real cloud,
Yes. Yes.
Sean was
yeah, I love it. Stupidness, man. And that's what I tell you. So that was me and he always chatting some kind
never
of
a dull
stupidness
moment.
and never a dull moment. You
And
understand?
Yes,
And
yes.
then to
Many,
be
many,
able
many
to have to
nights.
deal with that.
and
Yes,
you affected by him. You understand?
of course.
So
Yes,
that is
Yes.
why I want to tell you. Last week it was me, but this
of
week
course.
is
It's a
my
family,
family and friends.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Mhm.
Right.
But Mikey, I must commend you for coming back on. You understand, to sharing your piece and also sharing the small piece with that your sister wrote, and we greatly appreciate that. Any last thing before you go, and then Yason and I myself will continue for the next 10-15 minutes and wrap up the show. Any last words?
I oh
You,
Yeah,
any
Mikey,
last words from
yeah,
you? Yes, Mikey.
yes.
okay. I will stay on. You understand?
Okay,
Because I know
okay,
how
no problem.
to. Yes.
All right,
So I
okay, no problem.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay,
Okay, no problem.
so
All right.
Yason,
So
I know
man, it's
earlier
just
I mentioned, yes. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, man, it's just really nice hearing Mikey and it's just touching to see, to hear, from where he's coming from. Like I said, he also kind of give me the same energy as Ras Ibu Howell as well. Like to
Sure.
see the
Yes,
progress,
definitely.
where they
Of
come from,
course.
and just see like how he has progressed over the years, and still holding that faith and pushing and seeking to not allow that to um, keep him
Deter
or
them.
them from being active. Ibu will take his
Yes.
walk at morning still, I'm sure, and, move around and, still communicate with people. And, right now we
Yeah, man.
communicate, he's still seeking to push his music and, things like that. And I'm really going to help him as much as possible to push him. I honestly think I'm seeing that he is a living son of the father of cultural armor, that some sort of recognition should be given to him, and some acknowledgement, so to speak, knowing that he would have contributed to the music fraternity. Might not have been calypso and soca, but in terms of his
Yes.
contribution to music for Nevis, internationally as well, representing Nevis internationally, should not go unnoticed. Um, so you were about to say something, Banky. I just wanted to get in that a little bit because Mikey's experience and his story is really touching.
Yes. Well,
Um,
earlier before you came on, I was talking with at the beginning of the show, speaking about the prime minister along with delegation, the premier went over to Nigeria, and the minister of
mm,
agriculture, Mr. Duggan, signed a MOU when it come to because the prime minister spoke about it on his own table this week, that they're going to be hosting a storage facility for the company that they met up with, and have them to understand when it comes to shipping a storage facility where storing food and all kind of different supplies and then distribute it throughout the Caribbean and all this stuff. I'm not too sure that, I mean, I know I spoke about it, but I never get your feedback when it comes to this kind of thing, when it comes to our seriousness, when it comes to food security and stuff like that. Whereas we just come back out of a Navy's Agriculture Expo, and now Sinking Agriculture Expo is moved to a further date, which should have been held next month. The second would have been in May. Yes, 1st and 2nd of May, but now it's moved in further notice.
well, I really didn't see a I'm not privy to the article in relation to the food storage and so on and the details of it. But going by
Yes.
what you're saying, to me it sounds like um step in the right direction to some extent because we do need such a facility within the region. And two, based on what's going on with America and these trade um, tariffs and all of these things, um, looking to get food from and seeing that we're already importing. I mean, first we should really be focused on seeking to improve our agricultural sector so that we don't have to be importing food. But since we are so much, nothing is wrong if we could get maybe better quality out of Africa, um, and then let that money go into helping to develop our brothers and sisters. I don't see personally anything wrong with seeking to make such global adjustments, if that's the case. And I really honestly look forward to that direct connections with Africa. Um, as we speak, I am in negotiations to really realize that aspect of it in relation to getting flights from between Ghana and possibly Nigeria as well, directly to St. Kitts and Nevis and possibly a couple of other Caribbean territories. So that's not just a thought or something that is out there. Um, Almost all of the variables are together. It's just now to really speak to the various different Caribbean countries, Denmark, Antigua, Dominica, Barbados, and Kitts and Nevis, um, and seek to bring this into um, reality. I would have heard the Premier also said that on his program that that's one of the things that they are looking to do as well, and they would support such a venture, even as to go as far as to guarantee seats and so on to ensure that the flight route is um, feasible until it develops into more traffic moving from that area. He mentioned the fact that on his way up, I'm not certain if they went on a charter flight, but that would be more than likely the case. That it took 8 hours to go direct from St. Kitts and Nevis into Nigeria, but on his way back, it took him 40 hours because he had to stay in Togo and overlay for 12 hours and then go to France and then overlay in France for another set of hours and then come to St. Martin, and the total of it was about 40 hours. So he was looking at the fact that that's one of the hindrances for people seeking to up to come to St. Kitts and Nevis for vacation. If you're coming from Africa or one of those places, then you have to consider that, and sometimes the visas that they may have to acquire before going to some of those territories and so on. So if there's a way that we can work out direct flights from Africa to St. Kitts and Nevis and other Caribbean territories, that would be marvelous. So I am really happy that we are at this stage of negotiations, and I'm happy that the government also, a bit late in my thinking, but is moving in that right direction in terms of seeking to connect with our brothers and sisters in Africa. So I do welcome that. And as I said, the
Okay.
food storage, in relation to the food
Yeah.
storage, it is something
Yes.
that we really should be considering because food security is a serious crisis. So we need that, and I hope that in that they seriously consider having a seed bank as well, because we need to have a place where we can store our seeds, a place where you could have seeds for 50, 100 years so that in the case of anything, if it's on the ground or whatever the
Yes.
case may be, that you have that reserve so that you can restart. Even if you have a nuclear explosion, God most I forbid, and everything wipe off of the earth, at least you could go downstairs, down there, wherever, and take out some seeds and begin life again. So
Okay.
those are
I'm
things that
not
I
sure
look.
if I hear. I'm not sure if I hear you touch on the interprimary and the championship, and when it comes to Charleston Secondary School and St. James's and the other school that took part and stuff like
I
that
mean,
earlier.
Charleston Primary School. I mean, Charleston Primary.
In general, I mean, the event and how the schools did carry was very, very exciting event and stuff
Well,
like that.
yes,
You can speak on that, and then we'll do a wrap up because we don't go in 2 hours. So we'll
okay.
do a wrap
Well,
up. Second, yes,
I didn't get to see hear much of it, but I know that I've heard that Charleston would have, won. I see some
Yeah.
congratulations going out to Royston Queely,
yes,
who is the coach of, I guess, Charleston Primary School. I must say enough congratulations to Royston. I am proud of him as a young man.
the
He
grill
would have been
master.
one of my students at St. Thomas's Primary School. I remember
Yeah, man, he
teaching
did
him, and
some good.
also in Charleston Secondary School too. But
And well, we had that people go and support his grilling on the weekend Saturdays. He do some
I
grilling
was, I
outside
was
his
just
home.
about
The castle. He pick foot,
I was
but
just
they put up
about to say
everything
that.
pigtail. So by back you the pigtail me got to the making a sweet card, He's
I
a
was just about to
vegetarian,
say
that's serious.
that. I was just about to say he's not
Yeah, man.
known as a sportsman, but he's a
Yes.
well-known chef as well because
Yeah, man.
not
Grill
just
money, but I did
and not
grill.
just recognized locally, but he has been
International.
recognized internationally because he has
Yes,
won the Dr. Packer chef
Yes.
cook-off I think is in New York,
Grill.
somewhere in New York.
Yes.
The
No,
grill
in
off.
Florida. It's in
Uh,
Florida.
Is it Florida? Florida, sorry.
Yes, Florida.
I think he has done that back to back too. I think it's 2 years back to back. He has done it
Ye-
or something like that. If not back to
Yes.
back, I know he has won it at least 2 times. And so he's
Yes.
really doing a lot of things out there. And so I'm proud of him as a young man.
Yeah, man.
And the that he is helping to influence some of the youngsters because he himself was a very good athlete himself.
Yes.
So really, really
Yes.
proud of him. And all of the other schools who would have participated, the teachers, the coaches, the parents who support their young athletes and so on. I'm really, really proud of how, how and where we are going in terms of sports. But Banky, sorry, I know we're out of time, getting out of time, and this would probably, need another discussion. But I am of the view that enough is not being invested in sports and St. Kitts and Nevis, and let me say Nevis specifically. When we look at for example, cricket, we were leading. I mean, per capita, Nevis have the
Mhm.
most test cricketer, I'm sure, compared with any other Caribbean island. And at this point, with all that, we can't host an international cricket match up to today. That is telling me something, in terms of the seriousness of our people. And I mean, I hear me by the Woodies with some issues and the football and some of the things that he's pointing out in reality. Like for example, that after the children leave primary school is a primary school league, but after that, um, there's not much that goes on in between there because there's not much on the high school level. And even if there's on a high school level, after they leave, there's nothing really for them to do other than to join an adult group and so on. And so there's not much enough, to push our youth. And I see something the other day where some youths were supposed to go to travel to, I think it's Carifta or something, and they were out against sponsors and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
don't think these things should be happening. I think budgets need to be in place because at the end of the day, when one of these children become like an Olympic champion or whatever, the government is the first to run and say yes, and we're proud and think it's Nevis, this and so on. But where were you in terms of investing in opportunities to give that child that full opportunity to really represent St. Kitts and Nevis? So I'm talking sports general, so I'm not trying to limit it to cricket, but all of the different disciplines in sport, I think a lot more need to be done. I mean, I don't even want to talk about
Well, I
netball,
guess, I guess, I guess
where
what we can do,
Davis should have
we
represented.
can reach out, we can probably reach out to someone in sport, or more than one somebody in sport. I mean, I know you had Curvy, the first Olympian. We can probably reach out to him and someone, and the young lady, Mariska, from of Kodakode, Williams, but also made it to those two persons and do an interview with them and ask them their opinion, because they would understand where the sports area need to get to track and field and all this different stuff and get a good prospective feedback. So I'll look into that and see if I can get in contact with Kervin and the other young lady there, and can probably do a interview with both of them on different times. You see what I mean? And so that work out. All right?
Yeah, that's that. And I mean, I'll wrap up with something for agriculture, because I guess we are on agriculture. I am really um excited about an organization that I'm working with right now. We're seeking to really get into the Caribbean and modernize agriculture to some extent. We're seeking to afford Go Mobile app, and the concept is to be able to um, get, let's say, a mini Amazon of agriculture. So think of you being able to go on Amazon and shop for anything, and think of that being accessible to farmers and agro processors, and linking up with the hotels and restaurants and all of the different places where now don't have to wonder if they can get in contact with the farmer directly, because there's some people who prefer to, instead of having to, give the middleman, whatever, they can now deal directly with the farmer, and the farmer can deal, or business can also deal directly with the agro processors, depending on what products they may want on their shelves and so on. So that is something that we are seeking to introduce to the Caribbean. I happen to be the Caribbean representative for the organization, and so I might be a little bit biased in the sense of seeking to get it introduced to St. Kitts and Nevis first, and we are hopeful that that will be, successfully achieved in the not too distant future. Because as a result of that, as well, if it is introduced in St. Kitts and Nevis first, part of it requires some specific training, and it is something that is planned to be rolled out in different territories. So if it is rolled out in St. Kitts and Nevis first, it means that those persons who are trained in St. Kitts and Nevis will be the ones who would be sort of like the trainers, be able to go to the other territories, be able to start to train in the others, when we roll out in those territories as well. It is also intended to expand into Africa as well. So just start to begin to think of your little daughter who might be, learning coding and maybe a couple of different little things and so on, that will be able to help to impact the app as technology increases all the time. So as good as it may be, when it is rolled out, there would still be need for improvement as different technology increases. And so it is also highlighting that aspect of the agriculture, using technology and giving our young children an opportunity to see agriculture from a different perspective, and to be encouraged to get into the field, not just see it as dirtying up your hands and hard work and working in the sun and all that. So I'm just using that to highlight that that is something that I'm working on and pushing. And, we're really seeking to advance agriculture. Now, we do that, we will be putting more agricultural industry at the tip of, technology. Um, and so other countries will be following, will have to be following. We will be leaders in the region for sure, and then to expand out. So I want to take this opportunity now to say good night to everyone, all those who would have taken their time out to listen to us on a Friday night instead of been doing anything else. but you still stick and stay with us here on Real Entertainment Network. It's always a pleasure to come here and talk to you about agriculture and try to encourage you to, grow something for yourself. Um, I also want to take this time out to encourage folks also to support Sabas Organics. Sabas Organics will be hosting an event also on Sunday, and so you need to go on out and visit that. Um, Safari's Plant Nursery will be collaborating with Sabas Organics, and so a number of our plants that we have in the nursery located at Fountain Village, where my parents reside. So most people who know me and know where my parents are. We have a nursery up in that area. But we are collaborating with Shabbas Organic, and we are going to have some of our plants available at Shabbas Organic. You'll be able to get some plants. We're going to let out a little secret right now. A lot of people in Nevis might not know that strawberries can grow in Nevis, but strawberries can go in Nevis, and I have been growing strawberries from I think probably 2010 or 2011 or somewhere thereabout. However, we have started advancing to having some in pots, and so we will have some available for sale at Shabbas Organic. It's a limited quantity that would be available. So if you really want, and some of them actually have the fruits on them. So you don't have to wonder if they're really gonna grow strawberry for you. They have on fruit. You would be able to taste maybe um, some. So that is something to look forward to. So even if you wasn't thinking about going to visit Shabbos Organics, well, just tell yourself, boy, you're going to get a strawberry tree in Nevis, I will be there. So definitely that's something to look forward to Sunday. Shabbos Organics, a family fun activity. The children, something will be there for the children to do. Something will be there for everybody. It's a learning experience. You would be, seeing different fruit trees, learning about different aspects of, Kabanki. It's always open to sharing knowledge. That's one thing. Banky don't hold back anything. Anything you really want to learn that he has within his head,
Yes, sir.
he shares. So we look forward to that experience. Um, I want to say thank you to my mother who's been keeping the nursery going, doing a wonderful job. I mean, Banky, you really kind of tap me today when you send me those videos, you know what I mean, and the picture, like
Yes, sir.
really proud to see that my mom is still keeping, the place like that, and keeping the vision alive. So continue doing your work, mommy, and all those who are helping her. I mean, Lyndon, Jaman, my sisters, and all the people in the community who support, the business. A lot of these mom and pop shops are dying out, but my mom still continues to struggle. From all those years, we would have seen from that little shop to working and expanding it and turning it into a nice little superette and little bar area and so on.
Yes, sir.
It really shows the struggle and the persistence of our people. And for it to continue and to still be there, must have been also from the support of the community and the people on the island and so on. So we cannot say anything without saying thank you to the community who would have continued to support and continue to support all these years. So give thanks, people, enough love. Until next week, Tuesday. Next week, Friday, well, Tuesday, because we'll be back Tuesday with another edition of The Topic. But until next week, Friday, for another edition of Everything Agriculture, Santa Farai, enough love. Mikey, enough respect for the opportunity to experience and hear you again. Anki, enough love for the opportunity to be a part of this platform. Real Entertainment Network team, enough respect everybody for, the effort to really make this happen.
Yes, let me say give thanks for those who tuning in, and also big up Mikey for coming on again this Friday to share his experience and to give a lot of love to his family, not just Kim, but the whole family, Kim from Waiting Up Peace, but the same love that, reciprocated by the other families and friends and stuff like that. So Mikey, you're an inspiration and you have a brilliant future, you understand, already taking part and by help and what you have been doing, coming here, Culture My Time, doing poetry in the square and out there in New York and stuff like that, assisting and motivating other people when it come to this illness, aphasia and stuff like that, and people going through stroke and different mental illnesses when it comes to speech and walking, and just we're learning everything from scratch. Definitely, you're a strong person. You're a hero to many. You understand? So keep up the good works. But let me say, this Sunday coming up is another family Sunday by Shabazz Organics at Mansell's Last Stop. Remember, the kitchen will be open, so you don't have to do any cooking this Sunday. The young ladies will be doing the soul food cooking. So the menu, there's a melon medley family fun day. So the menu will be Creole fish, also oxtail, baked chicken, lasagna, and you have rice and peas, macaroni pie, coleslaw, garden salad, and you still have watermelon drinks and stuff like that inside the shop. And along with other stuff, you have Bouncing Castle, you have Ital by Reggie and Higher Heights Rastafari group. You'll have Nature's Bless, also Mr. Pemberton should be there with his local wine, but Shabazz Organics will be there having some melon, limited amount also, and jelly water, a lot of jelly water, only $5 for a nice cold glass with some ice. You know what I mean? If you don't want the ice, then you get you the ice, but it's only $5. It's all about getting people out the house and having different activities in the farm and to inspire people to get into farming and start a little backyard gardening and stuff like that. So instead of being in your house, and most of the activities we're going to be doing it on Sunday time, where those who go to their religious places, and Sundays we tend to get back out, those still have, and those who have their Sabbath, those still have. You understand? Whatever religion you are, it doesn't matter. We all got to eat. So support the farm and give thanks for those who come out every day and throughout the week, and to show their continued support to Shabazz Organics and to give their feedback on all those who do watch and support the Everything Agriculture show and also the topics, and just support real entertainment. And also, if you all want to be a sponsor, just it goes a long way. So whatever donation you want to give, you can contact Ira, myself, Yason, Alan, and you like the shows and stuff like that. Sponsor, show support, and help the show grow and continue to share the live. But definitely looking forward for this Sunday for this event. I mean, the farm is always in order practically, so we're looking forward for that event, Yason, and to having some fun. And also entertainment will be by my boy #1 DJ Nevis, DJ Woodis. You don't know, keep the people nice and entertain and stuff like that. Always a good laugh, and you never know what it will say on the mic. So make sure you come to support and stuff like that, and be on your best behaviors always. I love. Remember, you disrespect, you're banned for life. That is how the rule at Shabazz Organics. Any disrespect, you're just banned for life. You can't be back on the property. That's just how it is. So it's a place where everyone is in a comfortable environment, where there's no issues, anything like that. And it's a place where you can find different parts of the farm to just chill, relax, and have a nice cool breeze and just listen to nice music around good people. We'll have some dominoes. So those who want to play dominoes, there'll be the porch where by the shop is play dominoes, and I walk with my Wawi game. Who want to learn the Wawi game, I can show them. Who never play the Wawi, can teach them. It's the oldest game in the world. It's all about counting and tricking your opponents and stuff like that. So similar to draft, but just doing counting. So in the United States, they call it Manables, but the right name is really Wawi. So
Wawi.
Again,
I have something here. I have something here with
yes,
it's Wawi.
yes,
I learned it to play this in sixth form.
Okay.
And I still remember how to play.
Of course. Yes. And it's the Antigua national game, if many don't know that. It's a big game in Antigua, big competition. Just like we have dominoes here, is our big thing. We come to domino, we have domino, but in Antigua, they play Wawi for hours. and nobody, you understand,
Yeah.
very, very challenging and very fast. It's like you're playing chess or you're playing draft, you're moving and you have to block so you can't take up these one. And brilliant game. So I'll work with my Huawei. Well, let me see if you can see it. Well, this is my Huawei board right here. Well,
Yeah.
it's half, but then you have a next half. As you can see, you can open it.
Mhm. Yes. And I
So you see,
have one of
and then
these in
inside
my
here
house.
you have, if you can see, yes, and you have the knuckle seeds. Where you have
Mhm.
those knuckle seeds. Yeah. So and then you have, yeah. So I'll work with it. So I've been having this. I have this board for almost close 20 years. Yeah. So my youth and them, my little daughter used to come there, the 4-year-old, all them, and the older one, them, they all know to play the game, and the oldest one. So it's a family game.
Yes, yes.
You understand? Once you start to play it,
And
so I'll work with it and put it on the
when I come to Nevis, I will challenge you. You know?
No, man, I always enjoy teaching people how to play it because it's something that each home should have a Huawei book. It's just like the same thing with
And don't run from the challenge. Mike is saying when he come to Nevis, he's challenging you to a game. So you don't run from it, boy. You just I want to see that. That would be something for us. I want to see Mikey beat you up. So nobody run from
nothing
it.
wrong with that.
So that's
Nothing,
people. That's
nothing
something for
wrong
us to
with
look
that.
for. The
Nothing
next
wrong with
time
that.
Mikey come to Nevis, we're gonna find out about that game between Mikey and Banky, and we'll bring it back here on the platform.
Make every name
I
and
don't know
Mike
if
just don't run from me. But
I
definitely,
don't know if the guys are ready there to sign us out, but
yes.
if so, they could just bring on the music underneath and let us know that you're ready.
Yes.
And yeah, that would be the signal. Just give us the cue with the music underneath, the music, and at least we would know we're all right. Yeah, we're ready to log out. So yeah, man, Mike,
And
yeah, that would be
next week, Banky would send me this, so I will log on to you. Okay.
okay. You can listen to it. Okay, yes, no problem.
Yes.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. But Ira, if you're there, if not,
Yeah.
Yasan, you continue control the mic and we'll like to communicate with Ira and get Ira them to log off. All right.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. We
So,
continue on this edition of
and then
Everything
so I will
Agriculture.
log out, leave you here, and then go and do 1 or 2 things with the family.
Yeah, well, all he do when
Okay.
he's ready, I'll be able to.
All the best and blessings to all of you. Okay.
Yeah, man. Give no
Yeah, man,
respect,
Mike,
Mikey,
take care of
and
yourself,
for
man.
all
It was
those
a
who
pleasure having
listening.
you.
Enjoy
All
your
right.
weekend
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
and come out and support the fun day.
all he do just bring on the music underneath. Let's just let him bring on the soundtrack underneath, so then I would know that he's logging out, and then we log out from here. Let me see if we're still on here, because I have to go back to Facebook and see we're still live on here. Yeah, we're still live on here. So yeah, people, we're gonna be live for a few more minutes. It's a part of teamwork. We're doing this remotely. Everybody's in a whole different location. I am in California. Banky is in Nevis, and those who are at Master Control is somewhere in Florida. And I'm not certain where exactly Mikey was. So, technology at its fullest, and this is why we want to be able to get our farmers up to speed with what's going on, so that everything can be seamless. People can order stuff almost instantly and they can get paid instantly. Just like when you purchase something from Amazon and you pay for it one time, and then the arrangement is made for it to whether it be shipped to you, because that would be a part of the app as well. We would have transportation side of it, so we could have that like Uber Eats sort of aspect of the app as well. So you can order whatever it is and have it delivered to your restaurant or to your bar or to your home diploma or whatever the case may be. So we want to be able to bring agriculture up to speed. Not we want to, we have the capability, and we're just extending it to the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and other governments throughout the region. Um, we really have to find some ways to make things easier and much better for our farmers regionally and within Africa as well, because hopefully that is the plan to really create that bridge um, with tourism, with education, with skills, technology, trade. We just need to enhance more of these aspects with each other. We shouldn't have to allow things like what's happening globally to force us to have to do these things. These are things that we should have been considering for a very long time. I mean, a lot of the things that I'm hearing, like the rhetoric and a lot of things that I'm hearing, Rastafari would have been saying these things long time, It's long time we're saying that it's closer to fly from the Caribbean go straight to Africa. We're saying this because we've been saying repatriation long time. We've been saying we ain't gonna call to have to go through Europe to go to Africa. So a lot of these things that are being brought to the table now are being brought to the fore are things that we would have been saying for a very long time. Just that our elected officials were not necessarily listening to us because they would have had whatever thoughts in their minds still. So, right now, as I listen to some of what they're saying, I'm saying, I listen to these guys, You know what I mean? Like, saying it now that it's convenient, you know? But either way, still, like I said, some of the steps that they're taking are steps in the right direction. Maybe late, however, we have to do as much as we can to speed this up. So I'm hopeful that, we can do that. I'll be planning some trips to Ghana. I have recently been made the ambassador for a group called Yenkofe, which means let's go home. And part of that group, they plan trips to Africa and they take care of your accommodation and transportation if you need visas and all of that, documentation and so on. They help you get all of that started out. Let me not say they, let's say we, because I am now the Caribbean representative. And we seek to make sure that all of that is together. So we will be planning some trips. So I don't have many, no, but Ghana is said to be that place where most of the persons who are in the diaspora, especially in the Caribbean, would have left through. There is an area that is called the Gate of No Return. That's how they refer to it. So there is that pilgrimage trip that we can take where we can go. For those who may be interested in learning about that, there are trips that you can take just for maybe adventure because they do have summer activities, whether it's festivals and so on. So if you're more of that party type, then we can do that. We will have also trips for seniors and who might be more interested in like the medicinal herb and some of the traditional practices and so on. So that's one of the things we're looking forward to. In addition to that, we are going to be providing charter services, um, um, executive services, whether like ministers of government who want to travel, ambulance services, helicopter services, any type of aircraft that you would need access to, we would be able to facilitate that. We are looking to really have scheduled flights also out of Ghana to the Caribbean, but I think first we would have to work on maybe some charter basis to start to get the market open up. So I'm explaining this or sharing this because I'm hopeful that people on St. Kitts and Nevis and on the Caribbean would begin to consider, Africa as a destination or a choice of travel, especially seeing that it would be direct flight. So just like how you would take 8 hours to go to England or to America, you can also fly 8 hours and go directly into whether it's Nigeria or Ghana, which would be our first destination of the block. So we will be updating you on that. We have almost everything lined up. Planes are lined up. A lot of the variables are lined up. Somebody lined up for Antigua, somebody lined up for Dominica, somebody lined up for Barbados. We are really working to make this a reality. It's now just to connect with the government and the government officials on the various islands. So, me being on St. Kitts and Nevis, I would have to now reach out to the aviation minister and the ministers, tourism and so on, so we can see how we can get these things finalized, and make sure that what we're hearing, because that's one of the things that we would have also heard from the government, apart from the agreement to do the agricultural aspects and the food storage and all that. There was also talk of the possibility of having direct flights out of Africa to the Caribbean. That said, we have that possibility. I think that the team is ready to log out. So if that's the case, I would say good evening and give thanks to everybody, and do see you next Friday for another edition of Everything Agriculture, and on Tuesday for another edition of the topic. Enough love, everybody.
It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture.